This is the Redallover reaction show to yesterday's 1-0 win, our first clean sheet since Rotherham, all the way back in February of last season. So we're going to speak about last night's game, a few talking points from that as well, especially around the centre-back pairing, which seems to be having a little bit of feedback, criticism, even though we have just kept his first clean sheet. And then we're going to look forward to this weekend's game as we go down to the Cherry Record Stadium and play AFC Wimbledon. So let's get stuck into it. So, Tracy, 1-0 yesterday, finally a clean sheet, first one of the season. We are only four games in mind, but last one coming against Rotherham back in February this year. So it's been a long time coming, but a game that could have quite easily been a lot more emphatic than what it actually was, to be honest.
Yeah, it was quite a funny game, really. I don't think we started particularly well. Sort of let them try to dominate the game. They didn't dominate the game very well at all, but we certainly gave them more sort of time to dominate. I don't think we pressed particularly well in the first half as a team. I thought we were far more pressing individual. It just didn't seem to be flowing. And there was not much in it. We always looked the better side. Technically, I would say more threatening, but we weren't sort of particularly on top in terms of domination. And then obviously Caelan Vickers scored what at first I thought was a worldie. Still was a great goal. Yeah. But then obviously he got quite a good deflection. Whether it had gone in or not, we don't know, but we'll give it him because it was good, and it was just something that we needed because we'd set up a good number of shots in the first half and we were blasting them all over the place. The odd time that they had the chances, they did the same thing. So it was not great. And then second half, I thought generally speaking, we looked pretty comfortable. Started to take control of the game. I thought our sort of class shone through a little bit, but boy, could we not finish. And like I just quickly had a look at the stats. I think we had 15 shots, but only 5 on target, which just about sums us up. I mean, the obvious ones were the two McGoldricks, where you just expect one of them, especially from him, you expect him to find the net. And then there was one where Phillips the same, hit it straight at the keeper. There was another one, I remember, where Phillips went through, and I'm thinking, just dink it over the keeper, and he tried to pass it. We were almost looking for the perfect ball or the perfect finish, and I just think it just didn't happen. And then by the end, we were, I won't say hanging on, because I don't think we were hanging on. I don't think we were ever really under massive pressure, but it started to look a bit nervy, and certainly the fans, I guess, were feeling the nerves, because you're thinking, we always concede. But we didn't. I think Cooper pulled off a really, really good save. That was top class, but other than that, didn't really have a lot to do. And any sort of success they had in the box mainly came from our errors, really. But yeah, I mean, if you'd have said to me 4 games in, sitting where we are, points we've got, goal difference, not conceding, well, we just snatched his hands off, wouldn't we? So I think overall, it's been a great start. Not as best performance of the season, but if you would have said, like we just said, 1-0 away from home, midweek, following tough game at the weekend, we'd have been very happy. So I think you've just got to just walk away with it, really.
Yeah, it did feel a bit like that, Tom, especially with the chances that fell to McGoldrick and Adam Phillips, the two McGoldrick one within a minute. He's broke through, he's through one-on-one twice. Especially the first one, very similar to Bolton, but he's gone for a different finish. So Andy, when you watch this back and you said go round keeper and go to far post, that's why he didn't. He went near post at Bolton and scored. It's almost like it went to him. It's like, right, like for me, I was like, well, that's a goal because it's McGoldrick. The only other player probably fancied just as much as him would be DKD for in that position. And when he missed both of them, I was like, there's no. It felt like that. I was like, it's still only 1-0. And we've missed them 2 opportunities, or like something's going to happen here, and it's going to fall apart a bit, but it didn't.
Yeah, you do sort of almost feel that if you don't take your chances, it's going to come back and bite you. But they offered not a lot, really. There were odd chances, but vast majority of their chances came from our mistakes, and just not really being at it. They took a quick throw in, like 10, 15 yards up pitch where from it should have been, but we're too busy complaining about that and not actually reacting to it. And and obviously Cooper then pulls off a worldy save, and then we clear his lines and we sort of reset. But yeah, I fear for Peterborough because they offered very little going forward, and we carved them up quite easily at times. You said that like McGoldrick's two chances were, but they're also Luca's free kick. Keeper saves it, pushes it onto post. McGoldrick's just a couple of seconds too slow to pounce on that before keeper smothers it. Then like you said, Phillips threw on goal, and that's mostly in second half. In first half, DKD had a couple of shots blocked, and one of it fires one off at bar. He didn't have particularly his best of games. You sort of Landstream, you expect him to score like you said, him and McGoldrick. You just sort of you bet your house on it, and it just didn't happen. But when you're not at your best and you still win 1-0 away from home, it's Birmingham's points record in sight, isn't it, Josh?
It's in serious danger. Here's what it is. It's in serious danger. He's going to obliterate it at this rate. Jane, how nice it to sort of see, especially compared to last season, where we're grinding out these results, especially on Saturday as well against Bolton, going out to 10 men early in second half and grind out a result there, and then again this week coming off the back of that to go away from Peterborough again, who aren't in the greatest shape at the minute, but to still come away with 3 points it's sort of the main thing. It feels like that'll be one of the games last season where we might have drawn that instead of actually win.
Yeah, I agree. It's good. It's a good place to be sat in as a fan, isn't it? That we're actually, what we got 10 out of 12. Yeah, 10 out of 12. We'll obviously watching results yesterday. We were first, we were second, bouncing in between that. But how good is it to be in that position? And you can see the control that Connor's got over the dressing room. I do think McGoldrick's got a lot to do with it. I do think that older head, that player with that more experience has given the lads a role model, a leader. He might not be captain on pitch, but he's given him a leader. He's given him somebody to look up to. And that might have been all they needed. And Connor might have spotted that and thought, do you know what? I've got the perfect person and I'm going to bring him in. And we were like, he's old though, he's an older player. We only promote young, we only have young. But what a difference that man has made. Not just, you can see, I love the way he plays because you can see him getting them passes in and then getting in position. You're like, just pass it, he's ready. But it's a great position to be in as a fan, and you can see the team gaining more confidence. We've struggled a bit, I think, at the end, fitness-wise, but at the very end. Whereas, if had we got the goals that we should have got, 3-4, that wouldn't have been an issue. We were at the end thinking we need to defend, put his lives on line for this goal not to go in, so we get these points. But as fans, what a great place to be sitting, and what a great thing to be sat talking about here. Instead of we've messed that up again. It's like, right, we've ground that. Because not all wins they're going to be ugly wins. You're going to have ugly wins. It's part of football. But points make prizes, as we like to say. Points are points in bag. And that's what matters. And that's what, that's how you get your promotions at end of season. If you're going to win them, I'll win them ugly all year. As long as we get a promotion. Definitely.
It does feel, doesn't it, Tracy, that there is sort of a difference in the team. There's not really that much change in terms of personnel as such. Yeah. There's maybe, 4 or 5 new players yesterday playing. But within that, it does feel like Luke Connell's back to being Luke Connell. Adam Phillips is influencing games in the way that he did sort of under that first season under Duff. It does feel like almost like everything's healing in a way this season. We have got that extra grittiness that we didn't really have last season, Tracy.
Yeah, I think obviously the key players that we know are good players and have been our good players for the last 2 to 3 seasons. We know that Phillips and Connell just didn't live up to expectations for whatever reason last year, and to some degree even the year before. But yeah, he's got them back to the best. I mean, Connell misplaced a few passes last night. One of them really very costly. However, generally speaking, he's back to his best. He's dictating play, looks strong, physical, helped by the fact he's got, well, either Vimal or Patrick Kelly, who I thought did really well, sort of breaking down a lot of the play, which I think gives him more time to take control of the ball, whereas I think last year he would having to win the ball a bit more. But yeah, I think Connor clearly is, I want to say, like, perfect in that he gives the impression he wants everything to be bang on. I can see him being Mr. Organised. Everything's got to be done correctly. He talks about professionalism all the time. He makes reference to the fact that it wasn't professional last year, that people could arrive late and it didn't really matter, that there was sort of just a lack of control within the squad for whatever reason. Obviously, Darryl Clark, I suspect, but I'm not one to point fingers, but I think it was Darryl Clark. And clearly Bristol Rovers have seen that as well. But yeah, he's directly the opposite. It's as if he wants to be in control of everything and wants to make everything work perfectly. And I think that's being seen in the fact that the amount of fitness they've done pre-season, which has paid off massively. And like our discipline, going down to 10 men, completely different as well, both games. Losing a centre-half and a centre midfielder, making changes. We've just got discipline, not in terms of yellows and red cards, but definitely in terms of our sort of strength on the pitch, I think. So we're just better organised. And he's certainly got the key players ticking, which in turn and we have a number of young players. And I know you said we haven't got loads of changes, but I know you're going to come to the back four. But if you look at that back four yesterday, there's only really one, including that played last year, and obviously the back four's changed every single game. I can only see us. I'm going to touch wood here because I really don't want us to lose anyone. But I can only see us getting better. I don't look at us and think, it's all right, but this is just a phase. I can only see us getting better, touch wood, like I say, assuming we hang on to what we've got and hopefully bring that couple more in. But yeah, fair play to Connor. I was sceptical about Connor, I'm not going to lie. I loved him as a player, obviously, he was brilliant, but I was sceptical. I'm not sure he was up to the job, but fair play, Connor. So far, so good. He's been amazing.
It's all right. You've given us all someone to blame, Tracy, when Luca Connell, Adam Phillips and DKD are all sold on 31st of August. Now you've said this.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll look forward to that.
Channel me in at Alan Smith again there.
I've heard it from the horse's mouth. Liam Kitchen isn't leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom, one player that sort of stood out last season, but been a little bit quieter so far this season, DKD, playing obviously a different role within that, but still more quietly contributing from what he did last season. Obviously playing out left, like more of a left side this season as opposed to being the focal point up front. But the one thing from his game yesterday that I took away and was a little bit disappointed by was, I think you mentioned it already, Tracy, in terms of the ones and twos of pressing, it is a little bit disjointed, and especially when DKD went and pressed, the amount of times that he just got turned and allowed their midfielder, I think it was Collins at the time, just drive it as not alarming, but it just allowed Peterborough to drive up the pitch 20 or 30 yards just because it was so easy to spin around DKD for me. That was the only criticism I would have had.
I think he's been given a bit more of a free role because him and McGoldrick. To McGoldrick's supposed to be a centre forward, but he's just everywhere. DKD's drifting in from left. He's pushing more central as well, especially when Ogbeta drives forward from the back. His press isn't great, but he's also sometimes he's not in that in like a structure. He's not sort of in a set position where he's ready to press. He's sometimes not quite where you'd expect him to be. And in the same respect, with Phillips and Vickers, we're almost playing like with two right wingers, and they're sometimes not quite in. If we lose the ball, but they're not quite in the right position to then all press at once. But I think it's quite interesting, the sort of formation we're playing in and out of possession. So sort of in possession, we're playing three at back or betters bombing forward, and we're getting players pushing forward, and then when we lose possession, he's dropping back and into a back four, and then sort of everybody else is then supposed to suppress, but then we've got sort of resetting in his formation. I think we're probably not pressing as much as well because of McGoldrick's legs as well. He's probably not going to be if we carry on with such a high press all the time. Because I noticed we press for sort of like five or 10 seconds if we lose it, and then if we can't get it back, then we sort of drop back and it's more of a half press. We sort of let them come on to us and try and win it back before they get to goal. But yeah, I've tried sort of looking at Oran's tactics, and they seem to change match to match apart from the sort of the Vickers and Phillips doubling up at right wing and are better than pushing forward when we're in possession.
Yeah, it has been a little bit asymmetrical in that sense, which has been interesting. Jane, who would you go for man of match yesterday? Because I feel like there's quite a few you could choose from in terms of going forward. We looked well, but then also keeping a clean sheet at the same time.
Oh, that's really tough because there were so many people and so many chances, and everybody really. I think everybody will have that. Some people might not always agree because I don't know one standout player. I think it depends. Everybody sees things different. But like I said, I thought McGoldrick were good yesterday. I just thought his passing were good, getting in position were good, his chances, even though he didn't score them, there were still, some cracking chances. And I know he came off. Did he come off at like 8? He come off quite late though, didn't he? So he had a good, stint at the game. For me, it were him, but other people might not agree with me. Some people, see contributions a lot different. So for me, I thought he had a cracking game yesterday.
Okay, so with that, Tracy?
It was difficult. I don't think there's any one standout. I mean, I think Caelan Vickers is just tricky, and when he gets the ball, he brings excitement to the game. But he was out of the game quite a lot. I'd probably go for Tanai Watson, just based on the fact that it was his first game. He's not been with us that long. He didn't, he missed quite a chunk, nearly all of pre-season. And I was surprised he started at right back because I feel for Jonathan Bland because he's been outstanding, unless he were probably in need of a bit of a rest. But I thought he did reasonably well, and he seemed to link up quite well with Vickers and Phillips. And then I was really surprised when he took on Beatroff and then he moved him to left back. And again, he looked quite assured there. So I think for that basis, new first game, I mean, they didn't offer loads, but if they were going to offer it, it was going to come down the wings. I would go for him. I don't think we had an obvious standout player, but I'd probably pump for him, I think.
I did nearly launch my phone at a Waldo in that when they put that last ball in and he didn't run out to block that cross. He was.
We're really supportive.
If it had conceded, he'd have got some.
No overreaction there, Josh. No.
Yeah, I think to move him over to that side, I was really surprised that I can understand Ogbeta coming off because he was obviously tired, but I was surprised. I thought Conor Barrett could have come on and maybe put Earl out there. I don't know. I just thought it was a really different thing to do, but yeah, I'd like to see Cleary sooner as well. I thought we could have done with him a bit sooner, but can't criticise Conor, can we?
No, we can't. Just because he's good looking more than anyone else.
Exactly.
Exactly. Jane started.
Oh. You're on now, lads.
Tom, who are you going for?
Probably a bit of a left field one, but I'm going to go for Cooper. I thought he made a really good save, and the fact that he came out and absolutely nailed their striker coming out heading ball and just nailing it. And as soon as he did that, I was like, he's crackers. I love him.
I bet he's great at five-a-side. He's a right sweeper, isn't he?
He's just a defender,
Yeah.
isn't he? He's just your defender. And I think it's a fair point because it's a big save at that moment of we go 1-0 down after a fairly average to below average start. It's a key moment because then I think 5 minutes later we actually scored, and it's the balance and the switch of the game from that. No, I understand that. I also think his distribution's really solid as well. I think he's got a really, really good distribution. I can say with that. Right, one thing that has been doing the rounds, Tracy, since yesterday is the centre-back pairing of we finally kept a clean sheet since February, where we've played probably every combination of defenders we have at this club from last season. Couldn't keep a clean sheet. Now we've found one that has. There's been a little bit of criticism aimed at Shepherd and Josh Earl, which I must admit I thought against Bolton they were both really good and really solid, barring one stray pass from Shepherd. I thought they were fine. Yesterday, again, defending, I thought they were all right. I get people's apprehension in terms of on the ball. But where do you sit with it? Because it seems like that's the two we've got at the minute that we're going to have to live with. But it's an improvement from last season.
Yeah, I think individually, I like both of them, and I think they've got different things to offer. I don't think you can criticise Shepherd. He would obviously played really well last year at Bradford, and he's now got a step up, and he's become, well, our main centre half. Earl is far more experienced, but is prone to dropping clangers, as we know. I thought inconsistent year last year, as did everybody else in that team. But I think they're both what I call stoppers as defenders. Neither of them, I don't think, are particularly good with a ball at the feet. Earl probably slightly better, but frightens me a bit sometimes when he's almost too cool for school. He's got this thing like looking up and just clipping it inside with his left foot, and sometimes I think, have you actually looked before you've passed that? But and he will drive forward, Earl, sometimes to the detriment, because you're thinking, if we lose this now, because our beater is backing forward, because he's, like Tom said, when we attack, he's hammering forward, and I think if you lose this, we are really in trouble. Having said that, we've kept a clean sheet, and it's not through lack of endeavour or effort. The fact they're both left-footed doesn't help, but we've no choice. I think in an ideal world, Shepherd plays with on the other side and the left, and he plays with the right-sided centre half who's more experienced and can bring him along. Having said all that, I think Earl's played really well the last 2 games and got a lot of gets a lot. I think he's a lot of fans have a real go at Earl, which last season I thought sometimes was a bit harsh because everyone were awful. The defence were just awful. I think we definitely need another centre half from whatever happens, because we've said this before, we are struggling. If one of them now get a knock, I know we've got Conor, but we are sort of in trouble a little bit. But on the face of it, I don't think you can criticise either of them. They've both got a mistake in them. They're not the most accomplished on the ball, but they'll both put their heads on the line. They'll throw the bodies in front of anything, and they both work incredibly hard. So I think the criticism's a bit unfair under the circumstances where they're both playing. And as you say, yeah, those two have played 2 games together now, but they still don't have the same left and right back next to them. It would nice to get a settle back 4, obviously, but we can't, and that's how it is. But I think it's a bit unfair. I thought they did. I think they've done all right. You're on mute.
I've been doing so well and all.
Yeah.
When you're in a row.
There's one thing, Tom, that I don't necessarily agree with it. When everyone says it's 2 left footers at centre back, like you're not going to get the perfect scenario in every team of you're going to get 1 left foot and 1 right footer in that position. It just doesn't happen. But if it's 2 right footed players, no one cares. But I don't understand why it seems to be a thing of it's 2 left footers. One of them can't play right centre back, because right and left centre back, there's not much difference between it. You're doing the exact same job. It's just when the ball comes to you, it comes at a different angle. And as a professional player, you shouldn't really have a weak foot. your job is to kick a ball. I'm not being funny, but if you've got one job to kick a ball forward and or sideways, probably not backwards as centre half, but it's you shouldn't really have a weaker foot, and you shouldn't really panic when a ball comes to you. But I do understand people's apprehension, and I think a lot of it comes from the way in which they receive the ball. They both look nervous when it comes to them.
Yeah. Shepherd particularly, I mean, if it's on his right foot, looks a bit like deer in the headlights. He looks a bit panicky. And I think um, when Peterborough pressed us, we looked a little bit wary at the back. Most of the time that they coped with it quite well, but they did look a little bit. Whether it's just them being nervous or it's us as fans projecting our nervousness, and we're just sort of perceiving something that's not as bad as it actually is. But we, I think we struggled against Burton when they pressed us, and I think we struggled a little bit when Peterborough pressed us. But both times in second half, whatever Connor said to him at half time, we relaxed a little bit. We started to find his passing range, and we controlled game in both times. So I just think we need to be a bit more relaxed. I think whether it's just nerves, like we controlled that second half fantastically up until sort of last couple of minutes, and then nerves started kicking in again, and you just sort of think we're going to concede, and whether it's like I say, it's the fans projecting it onto the players, or it's the players passing it on to the fans, or it's a bit of both. You just feel them nerves.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there is quite a lot as well, Jane, for Jack Shepherd to deal with because it's only, what, 3 years ago we were playing for Pontyclleries, which
Yeah.
was something like 10 divisions below where he is now. He's only really, and he were a bit part player for us. He's had one season at Bradford in League Two, which, again, it's still quite a big jump from a good League Two side to a top League One side because that's sort of the benchmark that is set of us in this division. It's another huge jump for him to take, and it's almost a little bit unfair to be like someone that's played 3 professional seasons to almost expect him to be the finished article and the perfect player because he's still only young. It's not like we should be really hanging his hats on Jack Shepherd being
No.
the finished and perfect centre back for us.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, we've not only got a young squad, haven't we? So no, you can't expect the team's not one man anyway. We should be the kind of squad. Well, like you said, we are a top league in the league that we're in. We are looking at that. What they're looking at with us is finishing in top, possible promotion to Championship, because that's where Barnsley want to be in Championship. It's been a few years. There's great expectation on Connor's shoulders, I do believe, to get us into that top 3, top 2. You don't, however you want to put it, into playoffs or whatever. So that young lad's going to feel that as well. All the squad are. But if he hasn't got, like you say, to put that weight on him, we shouldn't be doing it. And also, there should be enough other players in that squad to take some of that heat off him, but also to help him to bring his confidence on. Because once you've got a confidence in that player, then his own talent it'll flourish and it'll just come out anyway. So I get what you're saying. It is a lot to ask of him, but if Connor can give him the leadership that he's clearly got in the dressing room and the standards that he expects of him, it can flourish.
I think it's kind of almost a perfect scenario, which Jonathan Bland's in at the minute, Trace, as well. Of given that we've got Tanani Watson to come in as well, we can sort of selectively use him, sort of, because I agree with you saying it was a little bit unfortunate not to play on Tuesday, but we are in that nice position of you can come in and out of the squad sort of as you need at this moment, and it's not a Jasper Moon situation over again where it's like here's half a season, we're doing terribly. You've got to deal with
Yeah.
everything piling on top of you. We've got that little bit of niceness there. Whereas at the minute at centre half in particular, it's a bit like Shepherd Earl. When MDG's back, there's a potential rotation there. But Conrad said he sees MDG more as a right back than a centre half this season. So I don't know if he will use him there or not. So it is a little bit finite at centre half at the minute, and almost Jack Shepherd's got to shoulder that responsibility a little bit more than what others have.
Yeah, and obviously got sent off first game of the season, didn't he? Which didn't help. Harsh as it was, that doesn't help. And again, he's bounced back from that pretty well. Yeah, I just think we need to be really careful that as a fan base we don't do what we've done to other players in that position. You know, Mads Anderson comes to mind about, you know, the hassle that he got, and you know, he still spoke about when he left how that felt at the time, and he didn't forget it. I've not heard anything. I've not, from sort of a crowd perspective, I certainly haven't heard. And I think most people are quite respectful of the fact that he's young. Having said that, we don't want to ruin him. I wouldn't want to think that at the minute we were playing a team who had centre forwards that we'd got like DKD and McGoldrick, because I think they'd both struggle against those sorts of players.
Yeah.
If they had somebody who was sort of going to run at them quick feet, I'm not sure how they'd get on. However, we haven't, and they've done all right. And again, the goals we've conceded, neither of them have been specifically at fault. I know they've not played all games. So yeah, I just think we need to be really careful and manage them correctly, all of them. But as you say, at the minute, we haven't got a lot of choice. I mean, hopefully MDG, you know, Connor said he possibly could have been fit for yesterday, but then he didn't make the squad. So hopefully, it was only supposed to be a sprain. Hopefully he's going to, and all this about he's a right back. Well, I don't think he is. And obviously, my coach qualifications are far higher than Conor Williams.
I was just sort of thinking.
Yeah. But I'll probably say that I've seen him play more than he has. So over the years, and I don't think I don't see him as a right back. I see him as a centre half, and I think as we've got the situation that we do have, I'd prefer to see Mile playing centre half. What I will say about Shepherd is, and Earl to some degree, they bring a threat in the opposition box, which, because you know, he nearly scored yesterday, Shepherd, and I went to a couple of pre-seasons. He scored a really good goal against Harrogate, and he's a threat in the air because they're both big, but Shepherd especially is, you know, he's a unit of a lad. So that's something that, you know, we haven't necessarily had. I know we had Pines, but we'll just not go there.
You were prolific.
Prolific, yeah. But yeah,
that's one word to describe him.
Yeah. What did Al call him? Dominic Pines.
Dominic.
That was his brother.
Yeah. But no, I do think it's quite a threat in the opposition box. And Earl has always been quite a threat, so that's something that they both bring. But yeah, I hope the fans don't get on the back. It's the last thing he needs.
Yeah, I agree. It's just one thing that has just popped into my head that I forgot about is the enigma at the minute that is Kelechi Nwakali, Tom, who was weirdly reported to have been fired by the club on Twitter, but then Connor came out yesterday and said that's not true. But they are looking to move him on in this window, because it did seem a little bit weird of, like, if I'm assuming if we did terminate his contract, we'd have to pay him out, so it's a cost to the club still. So loaning him out sort of seems the rational thing to do, of get the wage off, get him playing, best for his career, best for us. It's almost feels like it's come to one of them where it's just fine for both parties just to leave this alone and let's just make a clean break of it, really.
Yeah. When I saw reports, I was almost to asking, well, like, how reliable is this guy on Twitter? Some sort of Nigerian supposed journalist. I have no idea who he actually reports for.
Might be his best mate.
It's his agents.
Yeah.
Sack him.
I mean, if we had terminated his contract, it wouldn't surprise me. I've heard things that he's refusing to train. He came in late, although that was supposedly for a family issue. But you just don't know. But if he's refusing to train, If we sort of said to him, we'll get half your money, go away, because it's got to be toxic in that dressing room if he's sort of. I mean, you hear it on going under the cosh, and they said like, yeah, I'll just turn up to training.
Promoting other podcasts. This might be
Sorry,
your last. This might be your last show, Tim. This might be your last show.
I don't think
Other
we're at that level, Josh. Honestly, I really don't.
Supporting himself.
But-
now.
I don't think there's any detriment to us here, Josh.
but you were barking on about it. Just turn up to training, kick ball against wall, disrupt training, and basically be a pain in backside just to get you move. And if he's sort of doing stuff like that, you don't want that around dressing room. You just you want everything to be harmonious. So if he wants to leave and we want him to leave, then it's probably best for both parties to get something done, whether it is a loan to another club, or we just sort of decide to cut his losses and sort of offer him terms, and hopefully he'll take it, or we just pay him to sit in a hotel room or something.
I'm going to need to find some of them jobs if that's what
Yeah, I'll sign myself up, please. Thank you very much.
It does seem a bit of a shame though, Jane, because there are points at last season when he did feature. He looked like a real talent, especially on the ball. Like his passing range was so good, and it just seems like one of those things of it must be attributed. It's been more of an attitude problem rather than his ability, because the ability's there. If he applies himself, he could be a serious player.
It's one of them things, Josh, isn't it? You're going to get him. But I thought, well, when I saw the report, I just thought, go on, Connor, I like this. But it reminded me a bit like Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson used to be very much in control of his dressing room, didn't he? He was one of them. With your Beckhams and all your. I mean, you might not remember, just you're probably only really little, whereas I was. So, in your 90s when you had your big hitters at Man U, Alex didn't mess about. He were a man. He was the boss. He were in control. He decided who came and who went. And if he did what you've been doing, you were gone. You were out. That were it. So when I reported on that, I was a bit like, how much is this like exaggerated and how much is true? But if it is true, good on him. He's decided, this is my squad, this is my dressing room, and you're not going to mess about. We were told it was because he was turning up for training late and being disrespectful and just not playing by Connor's rules. Now, we can clearly see that last year were a different set of rules to this year. So maybe he doesn't take changes very well. Maybe he don't take being told what to do very well, being in leadership very well. He doesn't like it. And if so, we don't need him in squad. As talented as what he is, that can infect your dressing room, which then goes on to pitch. And he might be talented and he might be great, but if you're not going to bring it and you're not going to do what we pay you for, see you later.
Well, that's it. That's a message to you, Kelechi. There you go.
Well, I can tell I'm a boss, can't you?
See you later.
Try.
Get your thoughts down about yesterday's game in the comments below. The centre-back pairing and the somewhat strange enigma that is Emma Carley as well down in the comments below before we get on to AFC Wimbledon. Right, Tracy, making the trip down to the Cherry Record Stadium, which I can get on side that name, to be honest. I don't mind it. Obviously, newly promoted side, 1-2, lost 2. A little bit unfortunate in that first game. Defended really well, then conceded to almost a very similar goal to what Vickers.
And last night, they did the same last night. Exactly the same.
Conceded extremely late against Cardiff yesterday, I think the 92nd minute. So it could easily be 2 wins and 2 draws for Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon, so far this season. But they're sat 15th. They've got off to a fairly decent start. I think it's one of those games where before you've got the context this season, we'd be expecting 3 points, but I don't think it's not going to be an easy place to visit. No,
I think they'll make it extremely difficult for us, and having a look at their sort of form, etc. They're obviously a well-organised side. I expect they will sort of block us and basically stop us from attacking. I can't see them coming and attacking us. They don't seem to score very many, nor do they concede many at all. So I can anticipate it'll be quite a difficult, more of a Burton type game. Hopefully not an early penalty. That would do, something like that, which is a normal game would be nice. But yeah, I expect more of a Burton game than to sort of a Bolton. I think they'll be really tough to break down, and particularly at home. Johnny Jackson seems to have done a really good job there with them, and I don't know that much about them, but and is it Matthew Stevens? I think has got two goals in 4 games. I think, yeah. So he's, considering they're not scoring a lot, he's clearly a threat. And yeah, I think it'll be difficult. Probably one of our most difficult games so far for different reasons. Everyone will probably expect us to go and beat them, but I'm not sure. I think it's going to be an hard game. They're all positive, their fans, rightly so. They've done really well since phoenixing from the Flames. And, you know, they're a club that I think most people really want to do well because of the situation that they were in before. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be easy. They've just signed a centre-half, I think, today. Patrick Bauer from Preston, I think. Imagine that, signing a centre-half. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if he'll feature. I don't know much about him. I just saw that they'd signed someone today, and there's not a lot of transfers going around, so it just stuck up on me notifications. But yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I've quite a lot of respect for AFC Wimbledon as a club. So yeah, I think Connor will be working out the best way of breaking them down, because that's the way I see it being, us basically attack versus defence, hopefully.
Yeah, Andy. The reason why Andy isn't here is because he's been too busy doing the away end, and he's given me a couple of little pointers. Nothing about, well, everything that Tracy just said there in terms of them being a strong defensive side, but there's advice on how to get to it's the Cherry Red Record Stadium as well. I was missing out the red, of how to get to the ground, where to go, and there's a Greg's.
Oh well. Sausage
If
rolls,
there's ever
everybody.
reason to watch an away end, there you go. You can find out where the Wimbledon Greg's is as well. Tom, obviously a strong defensive side. Easily could be 2 wins and 2 draws from so far this season. And again, a side that defends well, not necessarily something we, or in previous seasons, haven't done well against a side. If they're not going to be that interesting coming out and actually attacking us, it could be a little bit of a problem for us. But there's a lot of new variables for us as well, such as the players of Caelan Vickers, Reyes Clary, McGoldrick, DKD. I think going forward, we've probably got a little bit more nous about us now to break down a side like this.
Yeah. From what Andy was saying, that they're probably going to play in a low block. They're just going to sort of sit back, absorb pressure, and try and hit us on break. Try and probably nick it 1-0. As Tracy said, Matty Smith is a goal threat from
Stevens.
Stevens, sorry, not Smith.
You've been doing
It's
so
late,
well.
isn't it, mate?
I've been doing really well. I was going to say from playing the EFL fantasy football from last year, he was very prolific. Got a lot of points from scoring goals and
You're as bad as Andy, just plugging your own.
Oh, I
No,
know.
I'm not plugging mine. I never mentioned my show. I just said I played fantasy football last year, and he was quite prolific for them last year. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be. They're not. Well, they're just not going to be going out. They're going to be very defensive. Sit back, try and absorb that pressure, and then hit us on the break, which I think could go one or two ways. I think we could have quite a bit of fun with McGoldrick and DKD and Phillips and Vickers just attacking them and just sort of sitting in their half and having fun, or we could lose ball and they could be sprinting at us. It is one I've been a little bit. I'm more nervous about this game than I was about Peterborough. I was quite confident going into Peterborough, because I knew how bad they were defensively. But Wimbledon, they look really strong. I think the XG against them is only something like 3. whereas I think ours is something like 6 or so. So you can sort of see defensively they're quite strong. Um, yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about this one.
Same.
It does feel a little bit weird, Jane, doesn't it? To a side
Yeah.
that's come up from League Two, and obviously we've got aspirations of promotion as much as we've tried to temper that, especially
Yeah.
with the start of the season we've had so far. But to come up against a side that is newly promoted and should be not struggling, but there should be an adjustment period for them. It does feel like one of those games where this could be really, really sticky for us.
But you bear in mind this is AFC Wimbledon, so they have as much as they don't like to be associated with the history, they have got history as a club, and they've always been solid and strong. Some of that is going to carry over into their new beginning, or into their fresh start. They've always been a solid, strong defensive side of Wimbledon, and I don't think that has changed any, even though they've been in lower leagues. So this does not surprise me that we are all a tad nervous, regardless of where they've been, that they are showing that solid strength at the back and also that composure on the pitch, that they will wait for you to come at them and then they'll let you on break. That organisation, like for me, Wimbledon have always been what AFC Wimbledon have always been. I'll correct myself. Have always been one of those teams that are solid, strong, and respect, but not to be taken lightly, because they will punish you without any shadow of a doubt.
No, it does. I agree with that. It is a very sort of tetchy time. And before we get into predictions, I don't mean to sway any of you, but Cardiff only had one shot on target yesterday, and they both had 16 shots. And Wimbledon actually had another 2 shots on target. So they didn't have much at ball, but they'd have more shots on target than Cardiff.
Yeah, they made it crack when they got it. Yeah,
exactly.
They've played Luton and Cardiff, who are Cardiff. What are they? Are they second, I think, aren't they? And Luton are up there, and I think did they beat Lincoln?
Yeah, Lincoln had Adam Jackson sent off after 20 minutes.
All right, I just saw the results. So yeah, they've done all right. The result, I think, yeah. I watched the game against Luton because it was the first Friday. It was the first game, weren't it? They were very unfortunate there. So yeah, I don't think the results necessarily reflect the performances, to be fair.
No, and it's not been an easy start either. When you look at Luton, Lincoln, Reading, Cardiff, it's a more difficult start than what we've had, and to be in the position which they are, it's been slow. So
I'll pull you on Reading. Reading's been terrible.
I've also predicted them in top 6, Tom. There, I've also predicted them in top 6, so I'm looking really strong on my predictions so far because Plymouth to win the league, I think, are rock bottom, and down there, and not Peterborough down there, but Reading as well. So yeah, you don't want to predict. Fortunately, I didn't predict us in top 6, so that's.
Oh, that's good then. Oh, good. That's my face.
That's because I'm looking strong so far. I know we're only 4 games in, but right.
That's terrific news that you've not got us in top 6.
I know, exactly.
To be fair, you're actually doing terrible, to be honest.
I know,
Plymouth,
horrendous.
Bolton, Luton, and Reading.
I know.
And you had us 10.
I mean, it's a long season.
No, that's it.
See who we are at Christmas. Before you judge her.
I mean, I think I'm just looking at mine. I think I've got even less than you in top 6. I've got 1. I've got 1. So
yeah, let's just say it's not going to plan so far.
It's a long season though.
Yeah.
What are you going for, Tracy? Then results wise,
1-1.
Oh, Tom.
I think we might just nick this one. So I'm going Andy Special 2-1.
Oh, have they conceded 2 this season in a game?
Yeah, but have they come up against McGoldrick?
Exactly, Tom. Exactly.
No,
exactly.
They've only conceded 1 in a game so far.
Yeah.
Jane.
I want to say I'm going to do a Smithy special, but I can't because it's not going to work like that at all. As much as I want to, I'm with Tracy. I think this is going to be a draw, and I think it's going to be a really ground out fought for draw.
4-4?
Fought for, as in we've had to really scrap for it.
What scoreline?
4-4 would have been amazing with their
4-4 would
defensive
have been amazing.
record.
It's been a goal fest. But I think it's 1-1 and we're going to have to fight for it.
1-1.
Defensively, I think we just have to keep them off.
I think we might lose 1-0.
Oh, just
I'm going to go.
his first loss at season.
Yeah, I just don't. They just seem too
Organised.
Organised,
just
clinical.
too
Yeah.
annoying in
Annoying.
the most respectful way. Just too annoying. And
What frightens me is I listened to manager earlier today because I knew obviously we were playing him, and he was saying things like, I've told them they can't get their heads down, you know, we're going to come together, there's going to be a game where everything's going to come together and everything's going to see the real AFC Wimbledon, and
It's us.
I was thinking, oh no.
It's us.
And we're always
basically
so
saying
generous.
everything that they've done so far has not paid off, but someone's going to
get it, and it's going to be us.
I think they should hold off a week and do that to Bradford.
I agree.
I agree.
Also, that reminds me, if we lose to Bradford, I am turning Twitter off that day because they keep putting that thing about being pecked by chickens, and that is annoying. There's absolutely no way.
I saw it's even banter or something.
Yeah, look at Stockport's full-time result from yesterday, and you'll understand it. It's just a line of them with his picture saying you've been pecked by the chickens.
It's almost as bad as that maul by the Tigers with Hull.
It's worse. It's worse.
Just comment. This is an appropriate point. Did anyone see the mascot at Peterborough yesterday with that
the bunny rabbit?
Oh, weren't that horrendous? I think that's possibly the worst mascot I've ever seen.
I know. Is that Boilerman?
We could do that for content. We could rating out mascots.
Yeah, we do a
mascot
rating thing.
I think it was called Peterborough.
Peter Rabbit.
Peterborough. Yeah. It was horrendous. Yeah, sorry, but we're talking about chickens.
No, that's all right. I saw that big flag they've got as well of Big John that said Posh Bosh.
Yeah.
That were interesting.
Different.
Interesting to see.
You'll not beat Toby as a mascot anyway.
No.
Can't. He's unbeatable.
No, Boilerman.
He's fallen off my chair, but it's like as usual. He's been naughty because that's what Toby does.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly.
Right, get your predictions down in the comments below for this weekend's game as we go to the Cherry Red Records stage. As I will correct myself on, and we'll be back on.
Near Greg's.
Sorry, just wind them up.
That's near Greg's. Yeah, that's the most important thing. There's a Greg's steak bakes and sausage rolls for anyone going. As well.
We'll sell out tomorrow now. People know that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, Barnes has got to have most Greg's in
it's ridiculous, isn't it? I don't even go in the place, but it's ridiculous.
No, you're missing out. I'll be honest, you are missing out.
Oh,
God. Sensation.
Sensational.
Right, so we're back on
We're
Sunday
trying to get
morning.
sponsored by Greg's here, by any chance.
I've tried to finish this show 3 times.
Got it.
This is your last appearance.
I'm glad.
You have a minute after August. You have a minute after August. You can just do your fancy football show, and that's it. We'll be seeing no more of you on this show.
Say, Josh.
Right, we'll be back Sunday morning with our reaction to the AFC Wimbledon game and to preview our EFL second round game as well as we face Rotherham. Tickets on sale for that now, 15 quid. What is it? What a bargain. What a deal. Could have been a tenner. 15 quid, I suppose. We'll see you there, you Reds.
You Reds.